now you should be able to hear me. Sorry. Feedback? Does it work? Okay. Okay, awesome. All right. So let's get started then. So again, I said that when the mic was not working, but if you have any questions, write into the Discord AMA or onto YouTube chat or via the Steam broadcasting. I will try to go through all the chats and try to answer all the questions. Okay. First one is from Theo, our patron supporter. Thanks for that. Are there plans for bigger maps for the AK anytime soon? Yes, so for sure we will have different maps for the AK and also for upcoming weapons like the M4, which will be added back before we release into early access. Yeah, it's just not in the demo right now. M9. M9 was never like part of our game, if I remember correctly. We have a sniper in the Patreon version. It's the Desert Tech SRS, and we will have probably another sniper rifle when we go into early access. Yeah, the sniper is currently only Patreon exclusive. All right, going to the YouTube section. Planned and demo let our it will be gone in about like after this AMA we will put the demo offline again as the Steam Next Fest ends there, and we kind of want to go into internal testing again, tackle all the feedback and bug reports that we got during the Steam Next Fest. Cargo. Hi, I really enjoyed streaming your game. It was a lot of fun for me and my friends. Any info when will be another playtest? You currently can do a survey on our Discord for getting a playtester for the game. We will have a couple of playtest sessions coming up, I suppose. Yep. Right. Going back to. Will we have character customization like face, gloss, pants, that kind of thing? Yeah, in the future we plan to do that. Honestly, I don't think it will be part of the early access version. It's currently not our top priority to get character customization in the game, but obviously it will be something that we plan to add. Yeah, everyone, like there's a question, could I be playtester? Yeah, anyone can be playtester. You literally just have to do the survey, and yeah, right now we got about 30 applicants, and I think we need a bunch to, yeah, as we want to make sure that the release goes smooth, we need a lot of playtesters, so just please feel free to apply, and then we'll come back to you. Are we gonna see bosses? Well, bosses kind of like difficult in realistic shooters, as you can't make them super overpowered as in more fantasy-like games. But we want to have missions like Assassination, where you explicitly have the objective to kill a boss, so-called, that might be guarded better than usual soldiers. So yeah, there might be some bosses, but not in the sense of typical action role-playing games. Will there be some more closed areas like in the first demo map? Yes, we plan for having also CQB areas. Right now, especially in the quarry map, is more or less the factory, like the big plant area, where you usually have to place the Intel file. Right now, that's more supposed to be the CQB area. So we wanted to have in the quarry map all different kinds of play styles included, from long range combat to more close range combat. So yeah, definitely we will also have maps that have a bigger focus on close range combat, while others um, might be more suited for long range combat. Is the P90 thinking of being added? Yes, it is. No, I'm not shooting the gun. So kind of like VIPs, but honestly, bosses like with more health or damage, right? Coming back to the boss question. Yes, that's correct. More like VIPs. Yeah, that's pretty well described. Will we have other maps? Obviously, yes. We have plans for up to 6 maps right now. That already have a planning already. Let's say this way. So we have plans already for them written down, but yeah, it takes a lot of time to implement those maps, to then have playtesting on them, etc. So for the early access version, there will only be the quarry map very likely, but we will rework it a bit and make sure that all the collision bugs, all the performance issues, etc. are going to be fixed when we go into early access. Right. Okay, I'm just looking at all the streams, just making sure that I don't miss any question. Yeah, there's a question on Discord. Will there be more players fighting against each other? I want to emphasize one more time that we will PvE only, so it will always be you and your team with up to 4 players fighting against the AI, so there won't be any PvP. Alright, coming back. Hey, which guns are planned to be added and which attachments? Mm, I don't want to go through the total list, like all our guns that we have planned, but I can at least give you a number of how many guns we expect to be added until we, like, before we release into early access. So we have planned for 12 guns. So there will be more SMGs, there will be more standard rifles, there will be one more shotgun, there will be uh, um, marksman rifle, like DMR. Yeah, so there are a lot of guns currently in the pipeline that we just haven't had time to add to the game. Yep, but there are many things to come. Do we have other AR systems, guns in the game? Um, yeah, so one of the coming up guns will be the MCX platform, so an MCX Wetland Spear, um, which obviously makes heavy use of the AR platform, so that will be quite interchangeable with the M4. Um, so that will be one of the guns that probably has the most customization available. All right. Just checking all the chats. No, hi, I don't know if it already was asked. Any plans on adding PvP later, or will we just PvE game 100%? It will be 100% PVE. Yeah, that's a decision that we already made some time ago, that we want to have PVE only. So yeah, hope that's something you're looking for. MK18 variant of the M4 in the full game. Um, well, I cannot say yet, but definitely a viable option to add that. Yeah, let's see. Can you give us some lore? There's a question here on Discord. Well, we hope to have some more story-related content for you in the upcoming weeks. Um, but to make it short, we are in an alternative history. Um, so the Cold War in Vietnam and the war in Vietnam, as we all know, hasn't took place in our alternative version of history. That's why we are here now with modern guns and in the modern era, and we have now the conflict that takes part here in Vietnam. But I don't want to spoil too much, and I don't want to go too much into detail here. So that's something that we hopefully can showcase a bit better in an upcoming story trailer, or also we have plans to have a bit more mission-related content in the game, but obviously those kind of things are very time-consuming to add. So don't want to promise too much here, but obviously we have some lore written down. We have a background story why the player is actually here and why he's actually doing things. So we just didn't thought, hey, Vietnam would be a cool thing, just go there. So yeah. MCX should be the most expensive gun, has someone said on the Discord AMA. Let's see, what do you think, guys? Should be the MCX the most expensive gun in the game? Everyone can be a bit interactive and write something down. Going to be interesting to see what you guys think. Um, what is your very rough timeline for early access? So, without saying too much, but we will release into early access in the first half of 2024. That's safe to say. Right. Modern Vietnam is super cool. Thank you, Isaac. We have the same opinion about that. Will there be player-driven flea markets? So, no. Um, Unfortunately not, or let's say unfortunately, but as we have only a PvE game, we want to keep it offline, obviously, and players should also be able to play it offline. So the vendor that we currently have is our counterpart to the flea market in some way, and it has to be balanced via our in-game economy um, without players having influence on that. What do we have in the demo? I thought there was other players, cause guy I met killed me in one headshot in 5 seconds, and I was playing on medium. Yeah, so in terms of bot level, um, obviously it depends on if players are more used to hardcore gaming or if they're more used to casual gaming. Some say bots are very easy, some say bots are pretty difficult. But therefore we also added 3 different difficulty options in the menu. So in case you haven't checked that out, you can adjust the difficulty in the menu under gameplay, and that kind of defines on how long AI misses shots on you, how the target aim radius is like. Do they just hit you within that radius of your body, or is it more 1 meter in a radius around your body, and that obviously lowers the chance of hitting you. Yeah, there are a lot of things that you can customize there. Um, Got here late. Can you talk about the factions? Mm, yeah, so we have the 3 factions that you are have been experiencing in the demo, um, from the WLF, like the Vietnamese Liberation Front, and United Iron Corps, I don't know the exact names right now, but completely honest. But yeah, so they are like our three base players in Vietnam, and they give you different contracts and they have different motivations, obviously. Why, and we will unravel that a bit more in our upcoming story trailers eventually, hopefully. And they also should give you different rewards because obviously the more Western related faction does offer you different gear than let's say the more Eastern related faction. So we kind of want to balance rewards by that, and the player itself is not part of any of those factions, just to make that clear. But he is part of another faction called Fang, which hasn't been introduced as of now in the demo, but it's kind of like a contractor in between the player and the other three factions. But as I said, I don't want to go too much into detail here because it's getting real quick pretty complicated. So we will have more information for that later on. Balancing for prices, it should be last, so no need to worry about something like that. Yeah. Obviously we will do a lot of balancing prior to early access, but I think with all the feedback, hopefully, and once we launch, we will have several balancing paths afterwards, and yeah, we will see. But it's definitely not the top priority. It's but something that's worth keeping in mind and working on to also have some more motivation for the players to get better guns and have a working economy is pretty important in the long term. Are there plans to add mod support? Well, it would be something very nice to have. Um, we all are fans of having mods for a game, and in general, I think mods are something that also keep the game interesting. Even if the main game is finished, obviously, you can check out mods by the community, but it's also something that is not at the top of our head right now. So we have to see how things go. All right. Will MCX use 5.5.6 NATO or the Blackout ammunition? We'll use the NATO one. Pretty sure. I think an even more required weapons is the Vietnamese AK variant, STV series. Interesting, good point. We'll write down. Yeah, thanks for that. I see, Isaac, you seem to be a pro with all those Vietnamese settings. Any more questions? I think I've answered all questions on YouTube or on Discord, so please keep asking. So we'll have a look at the Steam stream. Don't think there's anyone there. So yeah. Alright, on you. There's a new question, awesome. Any plans on a teammate's revive mechanic? For example, if a teammate goes down, you can patch them up with a short time limit to bring them back. Yes, we for sure have plans on adding revive mechanics, as we don't wanna be too punishing for players, so we wanna give them a second chance. It probably will be something like you have to have a dedicated item for that will be used, something like a how's it called, revive defibrillator. Sorry, I'm not sure how it's called exactly in English, but yeah, there will be some kind of revive mechanic. Um, yeah, right now the dev is kind of punishing, and it's the ultimate end of the raid. So we'll see if we can do something about that. Alright. Did you learn a lot from the public demo due to the feedback from players? Are you pleased with the result? A very interesting question. I could probably talk about that quite some time. But overall, I would say yes. It was definitely good way for us to get a lot of feedback. Um, Not only feedback, obviously also a lot of bug reports that were very helpful because you can do a lot of testing internally, but there are always exploits that you don't think of that only get present if there are a lot of players that play your game and do things in a different way that you haven't think of yet. So yeah, it was overall very helpful, and we already were able to fix a lot of things during the Steam Nexus. Like the last patch on Saturday fixed um, most of the crashes from the game. So yeah, we are pleased by that. In the demo, I only found loot in stashes. Will there be loot on the ground or on furniture in the future? So yeah, we had also some feedback on that already, like having some loosely loot or loose loot, I think it was called, like loot that is laying around instead of in plain boxes. I like the idea for sure, or we like the idea for sure. Will have to see how well we can implement that. I don't want to promise to have that in the early access version, but we will see. Alright. Any questions on the demo? If there are no immediate questions, you can also maybe share some feedback or have some suggestions on the game, like what you want to see next, or what features is missing for you the most, or what part of the game do you think we need to improve in particular. So we kind of have an open discussion about that. Any questions on YouTube channel? Is game being registered on because game tag on Steam is streams Tarkov? Oh wow. Yeah, I mean we're probably not popular enough as of now. Obviously, we also had our rebranding from Project Quarantine to Incursion Red River, and now YouTube has to take some time to register our game again. AUG and AK weapons need a nerf. They feel very OP, while the MP5 does barely damage. Yeah, okay. I mean, the MP5 also by its default preset has a lot of recoil, so probably a lot of bullets are missing the target. But that's something that we probably need to have some more playtests about and do what I said earlier, the balancing parts on it. But yeah, thanks for the feedback. This game would also benefit from some type of compass to help with navigating and callouts to teammates. Yeah, we have actually that written down in our game design document, and for sure that will be very cool to have. It will also fit very well in our immersive no HUD experience that we wanna aim for. Um, we will see if we can implement that in time. It also would be a very good addition together with the GCPS, which already goes exactly in that way of providing information to the player. So yeah. When I first tested a Project Quarantine demo, long time ago, the guns felt more realistic. Any changes made? Interesting. Um, well, any changes made, we completely overhauled all systems since then. So there have been made some very significant changes, obviously. Could you pinpoint it a bit more? What you think felt more realistic in the past demo? What do you think is about the firing behavior less realistic now? Let me get you out. I actually enjoyed sniping with the scoped MP5. Headshots on normal difficulty were still one-shot kills for the enemies. It seemed that sneaking didn't really help with their detection, as they always seem to notice you when you are within a certain distance. That's a good point. First of all, the sneaking, I think, doesn't work properly as of now. Gonna add it to our list. I think there was a bug within our system, so that's a good point. And happy that you liked the sniping with the MP5. So hopefully you will like the sniping with the SRS even more so. Ripchen also said, for me it was hard to hear the footsteps from the enemies, even with headphones on. Was it just me? Yeah, we probably can tweak that a bit. It's not a big deal to tweak, so that's again something that we can test within upcoming playtest sessions and do some iterations on that. Um, so yeah, if you haven't signed yourself for a playtesting position, you can do the survey still. It's linked in the Discord server in our latest announcement. And just fill out the survey, send it, and we will get back to you. Okay, when we got in the GCPS, it might be a good addition to be able to move while having the GCPS out. That would make direction finding easier, in my opinion. Um, yeah, I see where you're coming from. Um, we will see if we can do that. Yeah. GCPS moving shouldn't be too difficult to implement. I just have to fear that people fall off the cliffs when they are just looking at their GCPS instead of the map, like those zombies. All right, my break is over. Gotta go. Thank you for the hard work. Very much looking forward to this game. Cheers. Cheers, Isaac. Thank you for being around. I know that is just a problem that I'm having, or if other problems. What was the problem? Ah, the GCPS. Okay, yeah. I've noted that. Thank you for the feedback. I like the game so far, but the enemy steps sounds are too quiet. Any plans on changing that in the near future? Yes. Like I said, we will have some playtesting for that, and we will see. We hopefully find a better balance for those footstep sounds. And I know you make this game, but did you know that you can shoot and hide without mag and bullet and chamber? Um, I think, let me try that. I think if you actually remove that, um, let me equip a vest. Uh, okay, I cannot shoot. Like, I think you have to have um, ammunition in your chamber, or and even then doesn't work. So I'm curious how you were able to do that. If you can post a video on reproducing that in our Discord, then it would be very helpful. So that's not how it should work, but if it's also not a super severe bug, so yeah, whatever. Yeah. I don't know, in general felt more realistic when firing, but if they were made, okay. Okay. I was in a raid with a friend and I died to fall damage near spawn. Yeah, we already reduced in the last patch our fall damage. Um, so I think you take damage now if you fall 4 meters instead of prior to 3 meters. But again, that's also something that we can refine. It's really just one variable. Will we be able to vault over objects, climb fences, or be able to lay down prone? At some point for sure, yeah. I mean, vaulting, proning, climbing, that are all very, very important features for us. We definitely have that on our to-do list. But in terms of when we can implement those mechanics, it will probably take a while because it's it's not something that you can do in one day or two. It needs some more work, and we also want to make sure that it feels polished and it feels smooth. So we don't want to rush on those features. So we will see. I don't think it will. They will be available when we release into early access, but hopefully soon after. Okay, let me check Discord again. Are there any plans for day and night cycle? That's very cool that you asked that. Because we already have that working, we just have excluded it for the demo because we are still working on some proper night vision. But you can ask some of the Patreons because they were already able to experience the game with the day and night cycle, and that's for sure something that we have planned for the early access version as well. And we are really looking forward to all the new kinds of play styles when it comes to night maps and yeah, how that will turn out and how the player experience will change when the game is in nighttime or when the raid is in nighttime, not in daytime. So yeah, it's for sure planned. Will there be animations for putting bullets in a magazine in the future? Like those are the small details that you can add over time. Obviously, it's not something you would do in first place, but it's a nice detail that we at some point already discussed and might be worth adding it over time. But yeah, don't want to make any promises here. Look, awesome. Take your time. The game has a lot of potentials. Thank you, Monster. Um, yeah, let's make this game as good as we can together, community. It does indeed. This game is really fun. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Okay. Any more questions? Any feedback that you want to share? Just looking again at the Steam, at the Steam stream. I still think there's no viewer. By the way, does anyone uses Steam for watching streams? Just general question, because I never done that before. So I tried the bots on maximum difficulty. It was great, almost like PvP, but I don't think they should be able to shoot you through bushes. Um, that's a good point. They ideally shouldn't do that. We have a system in place that they have a harder time seeing the player when you are in bushes. So bushes do modify the perception of the AI. But we probably have set the threshold that AI can see players on the hardest difficulty too low, so we probably have to adjust that. Thank for the feedback. Alright, any more questions? Never watched a stream on Steam. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I've never done that before, but it seems like that's a feature that's, especially doing the Steam Next, has a lot of developers seem to be using. So I just wanted to make sure that we didn't miss out too much on it, but it seems like you guys don't care about that. Demo was fun, looking forward to see the next steps. Not sure if I should apply for the playtesting as I usually play in co-op with a friend and not that much solo. Well, we definitely want to encourage all our playtesters to also play in groups because obviously we also need to test all features in co-op and making sure it also runs in co-op. So if you already have a friend or a group that you can bring to the playtesting sessions, then for sure apply and be part of that. Some generally speaking questions. How has it been so far for being an indie developer? Are you even indie anymore, like situation publishers? Is it something you will try to keep on doing? Tough job so far? What keeps you going? What about small studios closing left and right nowadays? Oh well, so we're going now deep into the indie question area and getting a bit more philosophic. Yeah, so going one by one, are you even indie anymore? Or has it been so far being an indie developer? Yeah, so as you can tell, it has been a hard time being an indie developer. Financial wise, it's a tough situation right now in the industry, as a lot of publishers don't invest a lot of money anymore. So that's also a reason why we are still self-funded project, which obviously holds us back in terms of development speed. Um, so yeah, on the other hand, you also have to see that the gaming community itself is pretty helpful. So right now in this stream, you can see that a lot of people are here willing to help, are here to playtest the game, are here to providing feedback. So that's always encouraging and yeah. So that's always great to see and gives you also the energy to keep on working on the game. Um, is it something you will try to keep on doing? To find a publisher, you mean? Hooty tooty. And yeah, what about small studios closing left and right? Yeah, I mean, we all know the Embracer situation, which caused a lot of studios to close and a lot of employees being laid off. I think that will continue for probably another year until the whole industry consolidates again. But as an indie, that obviously doesn't affect us too much that other studios are closed. It just shows that it's very tough to make yourself yeah, also how to say it, like that you that's hard for you to really sustain for a long time, and that it's not easy to release a game and then live with the sales. Um, and there are so many people trying to get a good developer and get the game out and being successful, and only a very small amount is actually really successful and can manage to live their dreams. So yeah, you just have to be aware of that. The chances are not always with you, or the chances are not the greatest. But I think if you keep on believing, keep on doing, and if you also are able to have a great team around you, like I have with all my team members. We are currently 8, and we all have been working very hard together and have managed to put that array together, and I think we are able to achieve even more in the future. So if you can manage to do that, then you have eventually a chance in this industry. Alright, let's go back to the live stream. Can you think later about mechanics that don't force throwing mag when you have full vest? It's really annoying. Technically, when you reload, you just um, I honestly have to say I'm more a fan of that mechanic because it's also let you think a bit more when putting together your loadout for the raid and maybe not completely maximizing all your slots in your vest, but we'll see if we can find a way to avoid that. On the other hand, it was also um, more intended mechanic, um, so we wanted to have it that way. But if more players want to have it working differently, then we might be able to adjust it. Um, Coming back to those questions from Hooty Tooty in our Discord AMA, talking about the indie developer, um, whole indie developers question. Keep doing game dev in general, like going down your road, or maybe some future direction changes. To be honest, I cannot answer that as of right now. We really have to see now if all of our hard work of the last couple of years, and if it finally works out right, if we can have a successful launch, if the community stays with us and keeps supporting the game, and if we can make enough sales, and if we realize that it not only makes fun to develop a game, but it's also successful, and also um, it also is possible for us to keep on doing that without having to have another job next to that. I totally can see us doing another game in a different direction, another follow-up, but obviously that are very future talks that are not relevant for the time being. Do you have a rough estimate on when multiplayer lobbies would be in the game? Um, yeah, we will see. Right now we have disabled that because we didn't want to have random people joining the game and ruining the experience for other gamers. And we haven't had any game mechanics in place as banning, kicking players, etc. So we just kept it private. We will see for sure any like we will have at some point probably public lobbies. I don't want to make any promises on the date when it will be the case. All right. Any more questions? What are 3 top sources in your experience to learn Unreal development? Mm, ah, Interesting. Like I get the question from time to time, but so what I've done a lot in the beginning is just looking at existing projects and see how they implement stuff and try to recreate that. That helps a lot. It could be existing project from Epic, it could be marketplace assets, even so they are mostly not very well programmed, but they also give you an idea on how things could be implemented. And then tutorials also very for the beginning are very helpful. Every kind of tutorial can be helpful. Um, and the Unreal sources itself, like they also have a lot of good live streams where they talk about features. They have a lot of good example projects where they also have tutorials for that on how to implement stuff. But in general, then it's also just comes down to make your own game and then see what works, what doesn't work, and then probably start from scratch again. Like that's what we did with Project Quarantine in the beginning. Like that's now the third iteration of the game where we finally are confident to say that the framework is working and then that we can expand on it. And everything before was experience, yeah, gaining experience and trying different solutions and then finally finding the right way to implement certain mechanics. Will there be buyable skins or microtransactions in the game? That question I can answer with a very short no. Hopefully that's something what you wanted to hear. But yeah, we won't have any microtransactions. Alright. Yeah. Any more questions? by the way, how many demos have you all tried during the Steam Next Fest? Was it something like that you usually do always trying all the demos on Steam, or where you just by coincidence came over our demo and sticked around, or is it something you generally check out every time the Steam Next Fest is available? That would be also interesting to know for the meantime, if there's no more question from you guys. Estimated start for early access, first half of 2024. That's the time frame I can give you. Are you against microtransactions that are not game altering? Um, we are against microtransactions because I think especially if you are new to the industry and if it's your first game, um, you 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 want to build trust first with the player community, and if you already try in the first game to build microtransactions and get the most out of the player's pocket, it's just the wrong way of approaching game development, in my opinion. And especially if you build around microtransactions a game, then you already know that you're doing something wrong, in my opinion. If you don't have as your first priority making the game as fun as possible, um, then you probably won't end up with a fun game. And that's, I think, something that we see in a lot of AAA games. As latest example, Suicide Squad. I think they were mainly thinking about how to get as many mechanics in there to have a live service game instead of making sure first that the game itself is fun and not finding ways to um, reuse game mechanics all over again in the next couple of seasons. Ripchen, for me, Incursion Red River was recommended from Toby Creates, like a YouTuber that I normally watch. Cool, yeah, great video. Toby is a great content creator. So, yeah, happy that you find your way here to our community via that video. Better to buy a game than unlock stuff. Exactly. Like I don't understand why, or I understand companies doing that, but in my opinion, it's always felt wrong to buy a game and then having to spend even more money in the game to unlock everything. Like you have paid for a game and then you have to pay again for what skins? Like that doesn't feel right. And obviously, um, there are players that will pay for that, and most likely you will make more money maybe. But I think in the long term, if you plan to make more projects and etc., it pays out that you are not a greedy guy and you have reasonable pricing and etc., and playing a fair game with the community. Right, it's getting dark in my room, as you can see, my face getting darker. um, I see microtransactions as a possible way to fund the game further upon liking it when the full title price is low because it's the first release of a studio. Um, I mean, that's a valid opinion, but on the other hand, usually, like, what are you doing as a indie developer? You are releasing into early access, and then you have 2-3 years of your game into early access, and that is already like a live service game, right? You have every 3 to 6 month new updates. Try to keep the sales up with every sale on Steam with a new update, and to already have microtransactions with your first release um, just has a bad taste in my opinion. I think your sales go well even after your initial release if you have good content for your game and if you can keep up the updates. And with every Steam sale, there will probably be some people to check out your game, and I think that should be enough. Obviously, for project planning, it's great to have continuous income instead of having this one-time big bunch of income. But yeah. How did you adjust difficulty of AI? Is it shot inaccuracy? It's shot inaccuracy, it's perception range, um, it's the threshold on when the AI can see the player, it's the memory length, meaning how long they remember following you, for example. Um, those are the main parameters. Oops, that was not intended. Alright, let me just... Oop, that's... Alright, here we go. You're welcome, Hootie Tootie. Any more questions? I think we have planned to have the AMA at until 6 p.m. CET, so about 5 minutes to go. So if you have any questions, make sure to ask them now, so I can answer them. But we will also make probably another AMA in the future. So if you have any questions that come to your mind in the next couple of days, make sure to either ask them in our Discord or just keep them in your mind for the next AMA and join there and ask them then. Yeah, that is correct. I just read a message. One more that I have for AI, is detection just of player or of that AI as well? I've seen that taking out an AI near another doesn't always lead to detection. Yeah, that's actually something that we miss out on implementing correctly. So they all don't always be alerted when an AI next to them dies. So that's something we need to implement more probably. Are you happy? Was the question here on Discord AMA. Well, I'm gonna have to say that the last couple of days were very exhausting with all the feedback, all the bug reports, all the stuff coming through the Steam Next Fest. But yeah, it was also very exciting, so I'm fine. Any possible stealth takedowns? Was a question on YouTube. Um, Maybe for the future. Definitely nothing that we probably will add in the next couple of weeks. But in general, I think could be cool because obviously you also want to have some form of melee combat, like very basic melee combat, because in the end you can also go completely unarmed into the raid. So that's something that we need to make sure that in a perfect world you also could do a raid with being unarmed completely. So there could be something with stealth takedowns, but yeah, it's definitely nothing that we have planned for the near future. How many players download and played the game? How long? Can you share some of that? um, so we have more than 150,000 players overall playing the game, but that's, before you make any assumption here, that's based on the total number of players from our old demo and the new one. So yeah, quite a lot of people, also wished us the game already. If you haven't done so, please do so. Um, but yeah, the only numbers that will count are the actual player numbers, and we have released the game, obviously, because a free demo can be played by anyone, and maybe some people like it, maybe some not. we have to see how it actually goes with the release and how many players we can retain from that demo numbers. Are you worried about other AAA games, similar games, decreasing your player base? Are you talking about Grazen Warfare? Uh, not really. I think we have a niche here with our PVE focus, and I think that it's just something different if you play an indie title or a AAA title. Like you have as a player, you have the possibility to interact with the developers to eventually having ideas that ultimately get implemented. You have a smaller focus overall for the project, and we try to have what we have um, greatly implemented and have our focus smaller, but still with that having a good experience for the players. And if we can deliver on that, I mean, you cannot do anything about your competitors. You can only care about yourself and what you can deliver. So we try to keep the focus on ourselves and don't look what other developers are doing for the most time at least. And thank you, Hooty Tooty, for your nice words. Why Vietnam as a setting for the game? So first, we just think that Vietnam is a very unused setting in the last couple of years in the gaming industry. Um, and the whole jungle atmosphere is just a very cool thing in our opinion and really unique thing. And we were just enthusiastic to implement a game with that setting. Um, and we also want to separate ourselves more from the Northern America, Eastern Europe kind of settings that a lot of games are using nowadays. So that's why we switched to Vietnam. Fuzzler said on YouTube, in my opinion, if I see a game on Steam that is in early access and has already microtransactions, DLCs, there's something wrong. Develop the game and after that you can think about adding skins or something. Yeah, that's kind of like my mindset as well. Just make sure your base game, your foundation is good, and don't already think how to monetize your game. I think if you have that mindset, you're thinking too much uh, about wrong things during the development. Like you then have a call with your team about what skins should be in first place, instead of what mechanics should be at first. It just takes the wrong priority that early in development. Mm, right. Any more questions? Any plans to add LMT space where KACK is 1? Okay, gonna be honest, I don't know those rifles. Are they just AR variants? I think so, right? Yeah, yeah. So in terms of variants of the AR or of the M4 platform, so we probably have different receivers for the M4. For the time being, probably only one, but for any special variant, we will have an additional receiver and the handguards and buttstocks and these kind of things are obviously interchangeable between all the different ARs, or at least M4 variants in that case. So eventually, yeah. Alright. I'm glad to spoil a death afterwards if I like the game, unless it's some Call of Duty like skins. But I have trust in you that you don't take that move. No, we definitely won't. It's something I always have been against, and we also had publisher talks at some place that were already asking, have you plans about that? And I always said at that point, no, we don't have plans and we don't want to do that. So you can be sure that we won't have any microtransactions. Right, any more questions? You should email Shaw Concepts to ask if you can use his stuff in game. He did it already or not? That's a follow-up question on the LMT space where in KSC KS1. Alright, I will check it out after the stream. You. Alright, are there any more questions? If not, then I would wrap up the stream and would like to thank you all for sticking around, for providing feedback, for playing the demo. I really hope you enjoyed the time, enjoyed the demo, and are looking forward to the release. If you haven't done so, wish us the game on Steam. Apply for a playtester position. Uh, we're still looking for playtesters, and yeah, have a great evening, great day, um, and talk to you in the next AMA, I'd say. All right, bye bye.